Today I'm canning turkey. It's the first time I've ever done turkey. And I'm canning some soup base that you'll add the meat to later. And I have carrots, onions, celery, and I still have to add the potatoes and the tomatoes. And then I'm going to can some beef. Come along for the ride. Thank you for joining me today. So, I have some beef stock and I have some chicken better than bouillon that I'll add to the turkey, and I'll add the beef broth right here, and I'll probably, this is the next canner load, and I'll probably add some chicken stock in it or something, whatever I can come up with. I'm actually moving out of my home. I'm packing, and so I've packed away a lot of stuff. So here we go, if you want to learn how to do some canning. I was going to tell you about this. It's called the Jar Box. I have two different brands. One is Jar Box and one is Safe Crate. And they snap together. This snaps into this right here. So you have a top and a bottom that are exactly the same. And they're great for storing your jars in. And they keep them clean for you. And so mine are already washed and ready to go. And this is my chicken broth. This is where I heat up my lids by putting them in, my rings, and over here. And you can see I've just finished some chicken breast. Now back to the beef. We're going to put some in the jars here. I don't know if I can do that while I'm holding a camera. You can put broth in it. You can put just plain water. Some people put salt. I avoid salt, and I season when I'm adding it to whatever I'm adding. So I'm going to fill up my jars about that full, and I'll be back with you in a minute. I got 5 pints out of that. They're not quite full, so I would assume my roast that I just cut up was probably 4.5 pounds. And you know what? I have this little trick I've started using. I use my scissors to cut it up. It's quicker and easier. It's just I'm doing what's called the cold pack or the raw pack of the meat. You don't actually have to add liquid to it. It has its own liquid that's in the meat. But sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But more often than not, I usually add only about 1/3 of liquid. But this time I'm trying to use up some beef broth, so I added it. And I take my napkin or paper towel and I put vinegar on it. And what you have to do, I'm left-handed, I can't do it like this. You have to clean off all the grease residue or any little thing that might have got on the jars. And then you put the lids. This water was just boiling a couple minutes ago. You don't have to boil them or anything. It's different than it used to be years ago. You just have to get them warm. Heat it up. Ouch. And so I'll be putting the lids in the rings on the beef after I finish cleaning them. Then I will fill up the turkey. So when you put the lid on, I can't do it with one hand, but you do it what's called finger tight, and so just a little bit more than that. I've already got it just a few minutes of heating, and I have put my beef in there, and I'm going to put this divider in here. And I already have water in there and a little bit of vinegar because I live where there's hard water in Idaho. And I'm going to load the turkey on the top. I'm using better than bouillon, the chicken. And I think I put 3 teaspoons in here for 5 jars. And I don't measure the water because I'm going to divide it evenly, and if I want to, I can add water to the jars. I used this half cup measuring and it ended up just right. I had 2.5 cups of broth. I have my canning stuff packed away, most of it. You should be very cautious if you ever use metal, glass spoons or anything, putting them in the jars, because it weakens them. But I'm going to use that in there to let the bubbles out, the air, and I'm careful to not bang it sharply on the glass. Now I'm going to use a napkin with the vinegar on it and wipe the grease off of the top, and then put them in the canner. Taco Bell keeps me supplied with all of the napkins that I ever need. I actually had 2 reasons for using broth in this chicken. One is because I'm moving out and I wanted to use that up and start a new one later. And the other one is that I will probably cook these with rice or noodles or something, and I wanted more flavor in there so I don't have to add it later. Forgive the mess in here, I'm packing. And so I have the Presto 23-quart pressure canner. If you're going to get one, this is a good option. And there is one smaller than this. The one smaller only allows for quart jars, but this one is the 23 quart, so you can do 2 layers of pints in it. I don't remember if it came with a separator, because I did buy some separately and I just don't remember. See, I have a load. I could have fit more in there. I can't remember if I fit 17 in or what it is that will fit, because you can fit, it depends on if you use a wide mouth or this regular mouth, but you can either fit somewhere between 14 and 16 pints in here on 2 layers. I have moved my jars away from the burner where they won't get in any danger. Right now my countertop is full, and I'll be moving them pretty soon, in a few minutes. I'm going to let it get hot, and when the steam starts coming out here and it's 10 minutes steady blowing, then I'm going to put the, we can call it the rocker, I'll put the rocker on. And then I'll wait for the pressure to get up somewhere about here. Then I'll turn down a little bit, and then I'll wait for it to get to 12. And when I feel like it's steady and going to stay there at 12, I start timing it. But if it starts climbing too high, I only turn it down a little bit at a time, because I do not want it to drop below 12. Because I live in Idaho, I should be using 12 pounds of pressure. Here's the 10 and here's the 15. I should never let it drop below 12 pounds, or you need to start all over with your timing. It's okay to go a little bit above, but you need to watch it. I have it on high. I'm waiting for it to get up to about here, and then I'm going to turn the knob a little bit down and wait for it to climb higher. My canner has reached 12 pounds of pressure for my altitude, which is around 4,000, and I have it set to where I think it needs to be. I have 5 pints of beef, roast cut into chunks, and I have 5 pints of turkey. Though I've done a lot of chicken, I've never done turkey before. This will be my first time. 2 things that I'm not sure if I said before. There is a canner rack on the bottom, and there's one in the middle to separate the jars. You never put the jars directly to the bottom. Also, I added liquid to my jars. On a raw pack, it's not necessary. Sometimes it doesn't fill the jar completely when the juice comes out of the meat, so I always like to add a little, but I added the whole jar this time It might cause it to come out the top a little bit. We'll see when it's done. Here goes number 7. Here's my 7 quarts of veggie soup, no meat. Five and a half quarts of chicken breast, 5 pints of turkey, and 5 pints of beef chunks.